Go, Abbey.
Yep, all good to
Um,
go.
awesome. Um, we're both, yeah. So, welcome everybody. That's me, but maybe 10 years ago with my beautiful wife. Both my wife and myself been working in the business for over 20 years now, and we first started in New South Wales, and then had walks all throughout Australia, and then yeah, really in the last after COVID, we really, or just before COVID, we branched out overseas. Had to take a bit of a nap for a couple of years during COVID, and then yeah, we're in just about every continent. I think we're in Japan, Europe, UK, um, yeah, and lots of other places throughout the world. So yeah, there's the beautiful Abbey there in the Italian Dolomites. So she's our guide on both these tours, and we're very lucky that we've got her today just to share with you the walks, the flexible walk options, and how hard and easy each day, and the highlights of each day. Did you want to say something, Abby?
Welcome everybody. I am running off my phone because I'm currently in the Flinders Ranges. So I guess if I've had you on trip before, I'm very happy that you're here. And if you're new, welcome. When we get to my slides, I won't waffle on too much, but I'll try and give you as much information as possible. And yeah, you'll hopefully leave with a clearer idea of what the Dolomites is and then what the Tour de Mont Blanc is.
Yeah, but she's an expert. So yeah, usually with Abby is the a guide plus a host. So Abby would be the host and guide on every tour in Europe, but we also have a local guide as well that speaks French or Italian or whatever language country that we're in. So yeah, I think it's great that we have Abby there as well. She knows how Life's an Adventure does things. So this is just a little bit about us. Yeah, we're in every country. We've won 21 awards and even the Australian Gold Award for Tour Operator of the Year back in 1913. 1913, 2013. So yeah, a long time ago. But yeah, and we like to include a wow factor on every tour. We like to really, we've changed our logo and it's really walking is only part of the adventure because everybody does the walk, but we really like to have a wow factor. We really, you're going to these amazing places. How cool is it to immerse yourself into the culture of the place? And we really try and do that every day, immersing ourselves in the culture or I've picked the accommodation on both these tours, and I'd like to think that they're not the most expensive, but they're quite unique, they're quite boutique, and they're quite um, authentic to the area. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. Um, yeah. So what makes these tours special, I suppose, is the flexible walking options. You can go really hard, but every day we do have an option available that if you're not feeling well or if you've got a sore hip or leg or whatever, or you just want to take half the day off, it's your holiday. So we pride ourselves on our flexible walking options. You never have to carry more than just your water bottle and your lunch, and your camera and your rain jacket. So they're pack free. You're not carrying all your clothes, and you're staying in beautiful accommodation the whole way. Like I said before, boutique accom. And the great thing about Life's an Adventure is all your meals are included, plus your wine at dinner time. Only at dinner time, not during the day or but which is a really good feature, and I think it helps make for a really good tour, being able to drink the local wines. Yeah, this is what we'll cover today: the Dolomites, Mont Blanc, how they compare, and then at the end we'll open it up to a Q and A. and hopefully we can give you all the answers. So I might hand it over to Abbey right now, and she can tell you about the Dolomites, which is an absolutely,
Oh,
sorry, Abbey, I have to say, the Dolomites is probably the most beautiful mountain area I've ever been to in my life. But anyway, I'll hand it over to you.
alrighty. So what we'll do is just run through a bit of an overview day by day of the Dolomites, and then we'll move on to the Tour de Mont Blanc. I'm a little bit like Mark. People ask me all the time what my favorite trips are, and it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges. But I always give a but that the Dolomites have literally made me like tear up every time I've seen them. They're absolutely incredible. Um, we'll be walking in a UNESCO World Heritage listed area, and literally every day you're just in awe of these big limestone geological features that are surrounded by us. And I know we'll get to a comparison at the end, but I'll just kind of preface this with saying that we kind of walk between 1,500 meters and 2,400 meters. With all of our walks, but we have a lot of variability in what kind of terrain and distance and options and all of that kind of those things that come with that to yeah, suit diverse groups, I would say. So yeah, ready for the next one? So start with day one. We pick you guys up in the morning in Verona, and Verona is a place that's worth a couple extra days, I think, to stay. A lot of our guests go and see the opera in the old arena, and it's just a beautiful city if you've never been there before, to go and tour out to Prosecco wine country and just wander the old streets. But yeah, we see you and meet you early in the morning, and then we take a drive out into the Dolomites. The first place that we stay is called Ortazai, and it used to be occupied by Austria before World War II. So the accommodation here, which will probably come next, but keep the slide here, Daisy, is more boutiquey and resorty. So we have a couple days to explore this beautiful, more green area, and then go back and rest and digest and enjoy living in a beautiful boutique resort spa type accommodation, before we move on to like the real Italian Dolomite area of Cortina. So we spend 3 nights here. So once you arrive at your accommodation, you can bag explode and get comfortable. But the first day, we drive straight to the cable car at in Ortazai, the village that we'll be staying in, and we take the cable car up and then do a sort of figure-8 circuit loop walk on the Alpe de Suzy. And this is the highest alpine plateau in the whole region. So the walk is sort of, or it varies depending on what groups we get, but somewhere between 12 and 14 kilometres and no more than 400 metres of elevation gain. So it's a great introduction walk so that we can see what would be the happy medium pace with the group and how we can best, I guess, serve you guys to have the best experience in the week to come. The trail, despite it being at a semi-high altitude for Australians, so about 1,900 meters, is really friendly underfoot. So a lot of the hikes in the Dolomites are actually quite well manicured, I would say. So you don't really have to look at your feet all that much. So you get to enjoy the views around you. Next one. So these are just a few snaps of the Alpenheim Hotel and Spa, which is our accommodation in Ortazai. And as I said, we get to settle here for 3 nights. It's run by a beautiful, now Italian but Austrian family. So they have a big dining room, and they serve sort of like a set menu somewhat, for all of their guests. So it's really authentic food, super comfortable, beautiful view, sunset, sunrises out in the dining hall, and then they also have a pool that you can sort of go from the inside area to the outside area and just be surrounded by these big, huge limestone peaks around us as well. So we eat all of our meals at the restaurant there, so we don't have to go out at all at night time when we're probably a little bit tired and after our days of walking, but we're also in easily accessible walking distance from the actual village of Eye. So sometimes people, have a bit of a cruisy afternoon and yeah, you can go down and explore that, which is really lovely. If you've ever been to South Australia before, it's kind of like a little Harndorf or, yeah, like a quaint little street with lots of knick-knack shops and yeah. Next one. So day two, we start with our wow factor for this trip, and we take a helicopter ride over the whole of the Dolomites, and that gives you a bird's eye view of the vastness, I guess, of all of the ranges in the area. And we can also sort of point out where we're walking and where we have walked. It's extremely incredible. The helicopter driver is amazing, and these helis are the ones that they use to get to Everest Base Camp and stuff like that. So they're super comfortable, super safe, and super mobile. So that's just amazing. Once in a lifetime kind of thing to tick off the list. And then we drive our way to the Odle Loop. And this walk dials up the difficulty, I would guess, I would say, from the day before. But as you can see here, we walk past heaps of Highland cows. We have a nice picnic in the fields while we're looking out over the Odle group of mountain ranges behind us. And it does include 500 metres of elevation gain, which sort of we gain is at the start of the walk, and then we come down, have a beautiful lunch at a typical mountain hut with local food, and then reach the car again before coming back to the accommodation. Next one.
Mm.
So day three, we're still staying in Eye, and we have a bit of a longer walk today, which we have an option for. It's called the Sasolungo Circuit Loop. And what we do is drive to the car park of Sasolungo, and this will be the highest elevation that we get for the whole trip. We're walking in between 2,000 metres and 2,400 metres, but we also start really high. So elevation gain for that whole circuit loop, which is 18K, is 750 to 800 metres, which is quite significant. But it looks like an easy climb on a well-formed trail past a lot of winter ski lodges. And then we break up our walks by starting like the start to morning tea to lunch, lunch to afternoon tea to end. So although 18K and that kind of elevation can feel daunting to some people, when you break it down into quarters, it's sort of 4.5, 5K stages at a time. And in this area, you just got views around wherever you are. There's lots of mammoths, the wildflowers are pretty incredible. There's lots of huts along the way where we can duck in for a typical Italian hot chocolate and some donuts. There's this mountain hut there that's got these donuts with Highland cows. You've probably seen it on the Instagram if you're on socials. It's pretty incredible. But if that is too much, the group always starts out together and we can walk to the donut hut, come back to the car, have lunch, and transfer back to the accommodation. So you've got extra time to explore that beautiful sort of village street of Eye that I was speaking about just before. And I guess, like, a bit of a disclaimer, we are walking in an Alpine area, which is very exposed. So if a weather front comes in, we sort of have had to alter this walk before, where we've walked out, walked back, had lunch there, and then had an additional walk option in the afternoon to head back in the opposite direction on that loop, so that we're never too far from, I guess, a little safety house, rather than being on an exposed ridgeline. Next one. All right. So this day 4 is the day that we move from Austrian Dolomites into Italian Dolomites, even though it's still all in Italy. And we're staying in Cortina for the next 3 nights. And our first day we do Sorapis Lake, and this is an out and back trail. It is the destination, or the fruits of your effort are this beautiful blue lake. And the trail here, or in this region, is a bit more technical underfoot. So more like looking like a single track, undulations on semi-shaly like terrain. So I guess you could compare it to the Larapinta Trail in Australia in terms of its difficulty. But it's a 12 to 14 kilometre walk with about 500 metres of elevation gain to get to this hike. And because it is so beautiful, it is extremely popular with people. So we try and choose the best times to go to avoid the major crowds. So, for example, if our tour falls on a Saturday for this walk, we might sort of flip our Cortina days around a little bit so that this is not on the peak kind of tourist day, so that we aren't kind of on a walk with traffic kind of banked up behind us and in front of us. But this is probably the only walk of all of our tours where if we don't think it's safe to go in terms of the group's ability, we offer an alternate direction to this lake, which includes a little bit more elevation, but it's a lot safer, or an alternate walk for those in the group that might find it a bit too difficult and unsafe, which is about 7 kilometres. Still beautiful views, but not quite the challenge that this walk will offer. Next one. So this is the accommodation in Cortina. Cortina is like, yeah, the hub. If you watch the Winter Olympics, this is where it was all at. So it's a big, long street of outdoor shops, accommodation. People just sort of sit out, have a drink in the afternoon, that kind of thing. So it's great to just be in the hustle and bustle of this
Right in
village.
the middle of town.
Everyone's
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's adventure orientated, so it's a really lovely place to be. So when you come back from the walk each day, you've got plenty of things to go out and explore and see and do. Yeah, so this is our accommodation, Hotel Cortina. Next one. Day 5 is the Malgaroo Stewart Walk, and this is again Dolomites, but really well paved underfoot. So we kind of cross a lot of creek systems, see heaps of cows, go past and visit, mount those quintessential Alpine huts with the coffees and the teas and the cakes and all of the things, and climb quite a bit to get the beautiful views. But we do a loop trail that takes us back to the car park again. So sometimes we do a 15K walk. If the group's feeling really energetic, we up it to 17 and a half, 18Ks, which is one of the longer walks we do in this region of the Dolomites. But yeah, it's really quite steady underfoot. All of these walks, mind you, are walks that you would like to have hiking poles for, and they, we find, just take a hell of a lot of load off of people's knees, ankles, hips, all of the things. And then come day 4 and 5 and 6, your body's much happier with you than not walking with poles. So yeah, a little bit of challenge in the distance and time out on the trail in this one, but quite attainable for everybody in terms of the technicality of not really having to look at your feet for the whole time, and actually being able to enjoy the views around you. Next one. So day 6, we go to Cime, and if you've ever seen a picture of the Dolomites, this is probably the view you've seen. It's really incredible, and the walk's about 10 kilometres. It's a circuit loop, so where we park the car, we return to at the end of the walk. We start at a mountain hut, and follow the front of the range, circumnavigate the base, and then come back again. We have a beautiful picnic out in the field on this one, and just enjoy the view that you can see on the right-hand picture for our launch. Yeah, and this is the day where people just are constantly taking photos, being like, oh my God, like this place is absolutely nuts. It's, yeah, so beautiful. And a great day out there. Day 7. So this is our final day in the Dolomites, and we walk the Cinque walk. We have a cable car that takes us up to this plateau. It's an open cable car, so it seats 4 people and is, yeah, very much in the fresh air. We get up to the Refugio and then do a walk through a World War I open air museum. So when Austria and Hungary were fighting the Italians, there is evidence and I guess refurbished tunnels in this area, which we go and explore around the Cinque range, which is the picture that you can see in the bottom there. And then some people decide that that exploration is enough for them and they would like to just park themselves at the Refugio and enjoy the views, whereas others are up for a little bit more elevation, and that takes us 200 more meters up to a viewpoint, and then we come back and have a final lunch together at that Refugio before heading back down the cable car to the car, and then we can either drop you back at Cortina and say our farewells, or continue on to Venice and drop either at the airport or at the ferry terminal across the bridge in the main part of Venice. Next one. Cool. So that's the Dolomites.
We're moving on.
Moving on. So now we'll talk about the Tour de Mont Blanc. This walk is a circumnavigation of the Mont Blanc Massif. So Mont Blanc is the largest mountain in Europe. It sits more than 4,000 meters above us. And we basically, the difference between Mont Blanc in terms of the landscape is that you see glaciers and green hillside for the whole time, whereas Dolomites is very much that grand limestone geomorphology around you. It's more difficult, I would say, because we're up and down and up and down and up and down, but we're doing the highlights of the Tour de Mont Blanc, which is a 170-kilometre trail of 10,000 metres elevation gain and loss that passes through France, Italy, and then Switzerland. So we're doing 7 days of that in a more highlighted way, where we will cover about 100 kilometres and 5,000 metres of elevation gain and loss in our walks. Next one. So the photo you can see here is of Chamonix, and it's looking out. You can see Mont Blanc in the background there. Chamonix is my favourite place on earth. It's just adventure hub. People are coming and going and doing all sorts of crazy things around us. It's sort of like Australia's Thredbo, but on steroids. It's a great place to spend a couple of days. You have the whole day to enjoy that before we meet you for a meet and greet and dinner and briefing at 5:30 p.m. on the arrival day. And the Aiguille de Midi is one of those like wow things that you could spend that time doing, that takes you all the way up to Mont Blanc, or where the mountaineers embark on their journeys up to trying to get to Mont Blanc, or just cruise around. There's plenty to do
up that face.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
All right, next one. So you stay at Fouly in Chamonix, and again, it's super incredible that Mark and Vicky have chosen an accommodation here that's got great accessibility to that main street, so you can just jump out the front door and go and explore with a lot of ease. It's got a pool, it's got a sauna, it's got a gym, it's got all of the things. So yeah, it's really comfy and a great place to situate ourselves. Next one. All right, so this is the first day that we embark on the adventure. We jump in the car or have breakfast together, jump in the car and go to La Houche. And this is the official start point of the Tour de Mont Blanc. We skip the boring uphill section by catching a cable car up to our start point, and that means that our walk is 15 kilometres with about 600 metres of elevation gain and loss. Most of our walks, before we talk about this one, look like starting here, starting low in the valley, coming up to a high peak, and then coming back down into the valley. So Tour de Mont Blanc is just a series of up, downs, up, downs, up, downs, up, downs, but you're awarded with the challenge with the views that are surrounding us. So this day, we go up and have a glacier on our left the majority of the day, which is just absolutely incredible. And then we come back down to Les Contamines, and that's the official end valley village of day one of Tour de Mont Blanc. So it is quite rocky. The path is quite rocky underfoot the whole time. Has this little swing bridge that you can see on the left there, and quite a lot of steep switchback sections to get down into the valley. So yeah, it's not huge in distance, but it gives you an introduction to a more physical walk that is, I guess, journey based. So moving from A to B, B to C, C to D, etc., comparably to having a base camp and going out for day walks. Next one. So this is the accommodation of night one, Chalet Chamonix. It's owned by a Frenchman who has occupied this accommodation through his family lineage. So he's extremely passionate about the place. They have a pool that on a nice sunny day that you can see there, people can go out and enjoy. And again, all of our accommodations, we pretty much have dinner where we stay, so that once we get there, we can settle and have a bit of R&R and not have to venture too far in the afternoon. Next one. And this is in France, by the way. So day three, we are still in France. So we walk out of the front door of our accommodation last night and are literally on the trail. This day is quite a large one. We have 1,000 meters of elevation gain. And yeah, we're just kind of climbing up to a high point, and then get the beautiful views because we've done all the hard work. And then we come back down to Les Champions, and that's the official finish. So we're doing the full stage in the Tour de Mont Blanc guidebook. So you're not sort of missing out on anything if you've had friends talk about the Tour de Mont Blanc. It's a trail that's quite busy because of its beauty. It's gained a lot of awards, as the top three hikes in the world with Lonely Planet, etc., etc. So there are a lot of people out there, but they're the type of adventure people that are you kind of, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is a physical challenge, but it's worth the effort, and one of those things, like bucket list things for a lot of people. So that's a lovely day. Where we finish is just a little village that has only mountain lodging style accommodation, where there's big dorm rooms with 20 people in the same sort of bed here, and then a very thin wall here, and then 20 people on the other side. So we avoid that and take a transfer down the valley to Bourg Saint-Maurice, which is a French ski town, and have our accommodation there, so that it's much more comfortable before transferring back the next day to start the travel. Yeah. Next one.
Here's the hotel.
So here's the hotel here.
How do you say that?
Hotel Le Authentique. Next one.
Mm. It's got an indoor pool.
Yep.
Mm.
So then we come back to the trailhead on this day, and we have to take a bus up the valley to get to a cheese factory where we see a local cheesemaker make the cheese from the cows that are surrounding us. That we saw yesterday and today. So that's a really cool experience to collect some cheese and then take it with us to have a picnic, like you see on the bottom photo here, once we've done the work to get up to the top. But again, this walk is the same as we got to work hard in the morning to get up to the col or the high point, and all of them are sort of situated around that 2,200 meter ish area. So 700 meters of elevation gain in the early hours of the day, have our beautiful views, and then descend down the valley. As we descend down this valley, we're into Italy, and very similar to the Dolomites, we break our days up. So start to morning tea, we choose a nice picturesque area, have a cuppa on the trail, and then from morning tea to lunch, either have a picnic lunch if the weather's great, or seek shelter in a refugio. And then if the day's long, we have another break in the afternoon, and supply all of the things that we need to sustain us. And then at the finish of the walk, get a transfer back to the accommodation if it is off trail. So on this day, that's what happens, so that we don't have to walk the boring bits of the trail. The car will be there ready to go when we're finished the walk and transfer us down into Courmayeur, which is in Italy. So this day is absolutely beautiful because you can stand 1 foot in France and 1 foot in Italy, as we pass over the col, and then finish the day in Courmayeur, which is Italy's version of Chamonix. So we're right smack bang in the middle again of town, or an easy little short walk into town, so that you can explore all of the things that are going on there at the end of the day. Next one. So this is Hotel Chalet Severo in Italy, in Courmayeur. Again, it's a really boutique place run by a family who have had it in their lineage for a
Only
very long
wood.
time. Only wood, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's like
The
a
owner
real
really
proper
loves
chalet.
Australia, and it's been on one of our tours in Australia.
It's cool. It's got
Yeah.
a sauna, so you can sit in the sauna and look out over the Mont Blanc region at the end of the day, rest those muscles after a few days of great hiking, and then, yeah, recharge for the next day ahead.
Mhm.
So day 5, we start the morning walking in Italy, and then we pass the col or the high point, which is again at 2,200-ish meters, and then reach Switzerland as we descend down the valley. So Switzerland is the photo on the left, and then on the right, that is the type of trail that you'll be walking to reach that col. So we climb, 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 lots of switchbacks, single track, but to the left of that image on the right, you've got this amazing glacier. And then again, as we reach the top, which is, yeah, green and beautiful and lovely, just surrounded by towering mountains with glaciers. It's quite incredible. So we finish the day here in Fouly, and then get a transfer to our accommodation. That walk is about sort of 15 kilometres, and the stock standard kind of 700 meters of elevation gain and loss.
Big day.
Big day, great day.
Hmm.
So we highlight, because we are highlighting the Tour de Mont Blanc, at the finish point of the walk in the Fouly, we jump in the car and have about a 30-minute transfer to Champay-Lac, which is in Switzerland. It's a beautiful lake, quite small. It's about 2.5 kilometres around it, and all of the accommodations sort of surround this lake. So we stay in Hotel Glacier, which you can see on the right there, and again, dine at the restaurant there or a local one, depending on how we're going. And yeah, you can just enjoy being in the surrounds in the afternoon at this beautiful high Alpine lake. Next one. So day 6, our walk starts in Switzerland and we end in France. So we jump in the car in the afternoon and drive about 30 minutes to get to the start of our walk in Trient. And same, we climb to a col, which is the high point, 2,200 meters, which divides France and Switzerland. This is all beautiful on the way up, like challenging but beautiful. Have a lovely picnic lunch on the high point and then descend back down into Chamonix village, and then stay back in Chamonix at the accommodation that we stayed at on night 1 for the next 2 nights, so we can have a little bit of a base camp as our bodies start to get a little more tired. So this is the accommodation again in Chamonix. And then day 7, we do a little bit of a combo of things depending on what group we have and what the energy levels are like. But the final day of the Tour de Mont Blanc includes a series of about 30 ladders, which are on the cliff edge, which in my experience, a lot of groups have had enough of by that time, and not that we've had to do them at all, but they become a little bit challenging. So we want to give you guys the best experience and walk where you can enjoy the views around you, because they're so amazing on that final day. And Lac Blanc is one of the best day walks in the Chamonix Valley, so which is still on the TMB, but just avoiding those ladders. So what we do to get there is take the cable car up to La Flagère and get to Lac Blanc, which is this amazing blue lake that you can see in the top there before the crowds. Enjoy morning tea there, and then continue on a high pass, a Balkan trail, where you get the whole views of Mont Blanc and the whole valley. Before descending down a double cable car to get back to Chamonix to have the afternoon to enjoy being back there and celebrate the amazing feats that you've done over the last week. We have a beautiful final dinner together, and then it is our final day, the following day, where we have breakfast.
And that photo with the ice looking out, that's on the balconies walk.
That's at the top of the Aiguille de Midi. So the large cable car that you can take in your own time at the start of the trek or at the end of the trek. The photo at the top of that, so the one on the top right hand corner, they're the type of views that you'll see on this walk.
Amazing.
Yeah. And there we are last year on that day, above the clouds.
Which one is for you, Abbey?
Well, they're both amazing, but I would say the Dolomites is a lot less technical and physical than the Tour de Mont Blanc. Dolomites, the average elevation gain and loss each day is about 500 meters, and there's quite a lot of diversity in the trail. So 75% of the tracks are quite well formed, well paved, double man trails, which could be a little bit shared use, as you can see the image behind the text. Whereas the Tour de Mont Blanc is more single track. You've a bit more goal orientated, so you've got to get up to the col or the high pass each day and then descend back down in valleys. So you've got continual back-to-back days of 700 to 1,000 meters of elevation gain or loss, and you're more on a journey-based experience. Whereas the Dolomites is, you've got a home base to go out and explore day walks rather than be on a journey to circumnavigate a massif, if that makes sense. Cool.
Okay. Yeah, the Mount Blanc, if you had to do it from start to finish, would be 9, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be like pushing it if you're doing 10 days.
Yeah,
It would
we
be
take out
quite
all the
physical.
boring bits.
Yeah, do the
Mm.
highlights for sure, but still get
Yeah,
that completion of the whole massive circumnavigation.
yeah. And then with the Dolomites, when I first went there, I spoke to all the different guides and authorities in the area, and that's how we came up with the itinerary, is just picking the best of the best walks. But you could spend months in the Dolomites and not actually ever do it all. But these are
Yeah.
the best of the best walks, I'd say. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And with the Dolomites, my co-guide is Nicole, and she's a geologist she's written guidebooks for all of this area and the Chinket area. She's amazing. So we've got a little bit more time to immerse ourselves in the surrounds, whereas the
Yeah.
Tour de Mont Blanc, my co-guide is Hugo, and he's a mountain man who's done the trail many a time. And yeah, we're there to kind of support you through the physical challenge, I would say,
But
as
it's
well as
beautiful
giving
too.
you lots of information. Yeah, yeah,
Both are stunning.
yeah.
Okay. And then,
Next.
as you can see, guys, there's the Dolomites are sold out in July, but we do have a date in August, which is very hot in demand. We've still got some spots left for that, but it's a perfect time to go because the rest of Europe is so hot, but up in the Dolomites is another 10 degrees cooler, I'd say. Is that about right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then
Typically,
and
we
then certainly with Mount Blanc, we've got a date on the 20th of July, and there's still spots available on those two dates. So 20th of July for Mount Blanc, and then the 25th of August for the Dolomites. Hmm. We might go to question time. Please use the chat box if you're, and we'll allow you all to talk. Hi, everybody. Thanks for putting up with us. I hope you found it really informative, and thank you so much. We're very, very in debt to you, Abbey. You're one of our best guides. You're going to be in exceptionally good hands. She's, as you can tell, very competent and yeah, well organised girl. So, any questions anybody might have? We've opened up all the mics, so you can talk.
Okay. How cold does it get? The
Mm.
Yeah, that's Warren. Thanks, Warren.
Dolomites.
Do you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
answer
that's all
that
right.
one, Abby?
Yeah. So I've had years where we've been there and it's been hot all the time, and then I've had years we've been there and it's been quite fresh. So it can range and have quite a large variability. So it's one of those walks where in an alpine area where over 7 days you're probably gonna be in shorts and t-shirt, and then other days you're going to be in pants and a jumper and a rain jacket. So you kind of have to be prepared for everything.
Yeah,
I haven't had it get probably below 10 degrees, and that would be in the morning. And then typically it's sunshine by the afternoon.
yeah.
But being in a mountain area, there's lots of thermal things happening. So, yeah, every day is a little bit different, but definitely
Hmm.
shouldn't be below 10. And then the average temperature is probably 18 to 25.
Okay. But we need to bring a jacket for night time.
Oh, well, we're
Yeah,
walking even.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Any other questions? Was that Andrew with a question or no? Anybody else like to talk? Christina?
No, we're okay. The question we had was just around the temperature, and you've answered the walking poles. Just in respect to shoes, pretty basic question. We've got walking shoes, but are they necessary, or is it something lighter applicable?
Uh, yeah, it's a question a lot of people have, and it's semi-personal preference if the weather is giving sunshine and rainbows. Um, I would say, so last year on the Tour de Mont Blanc, on the first day, it was really wet, and hiking boots definitely reigned supreme, because when it rains, obviously the trail is going to get like quite muddy, and the traction on hiking boots was kind of a must. Or trail runners offer quite a lot of comfort, and you don't have to wear them in and all the things, and they're great 80% of the time. But then if the weather turns sour, hiking boots or walking shoes are going to reign a bit supreme. So it's definitely good to have that available to you just in case. It's hard to kind of determine the weather, I guess, from so far in advance. But yeah, if you're a trail run person through and through, I would say stick with your trail runners. But if you're mostly a hiker and a walker, definitely bring hiking or walking shoes.
So does anybody have any problem with the altitude when walking at, was it 2,400 meters?
Yeah, I typically think like over 2,000 meters, you start to feel that the air is thinner. But as guides, it's kind of up to us to manage that. So, the first day on the Dolomites, when we're on the plateau, people definitely feel it a little bit more. And it's just a matter of being conscious of hydration, hydrolytes, not sort of going too fast on the uphills and things, to allow your body that time just to get used to it. On the Tour de Mont Blanc, you are being physical to go up to the high point, so you're going to feel like you're working cardiovascularly anyway. But because we go up and then come down, typically, no, like you might feel like you're putting in a bit more effort than what you would at home. But yeah, under that 2,200 meter sweet spot, most people are generally okay. And on the positive, chocolate is great for altitude. So
Brilliant.
Cool. Yeah, good questions, guys. Keep it coming. Anybody else?
Yep, I've got a question.
Oh, thanks, Deborah.
Yeah, it's Deb. This probably shows my lack of travel, but do you have to have a visa to go into each of those three countries on the Mont Blanc walk?
No, it's quite funny. There's not even any signs at all. There will be like a little, almost like a trig marker where heaps of people are getting their photo with one foot on one side and one foot on the other, but there's no border control or anything like that.
Okay, thanks.
Can I ask you to answer the question that I emailed to you, please? You mentioned before that you've received it.
About the cable car?
Yes, from to Seceda. Would there be time to do that on day 2 after we get back?
To Seceda. We haven't done that in the past. It'll probably be when we do the Sasso Lungo loop, where typically in all of the tours we've done in the past, that's the walk where the group divides, and some people do the whole circumnavigation, so the 18 kilometers, and then other people just decide to do a out and back trail to lunch. So then you've got that afternoon to do what you would like. If it works within timing and transfers, we can make that work. At this moment, I guess I couldn't sort of say, because I'd have to sort of look at how long it would take to drive you there. But yeah, I guess
it's very. Oh, sorry. One of my sons who's been to the Dolomites recommended it, and he looked at where we were staying and he said it's just a walk down to the cable car. I thought that's what he said anyway. Does that sound right?
Yeah, in Ortazai there is a train. It's like a train cable car at the back of town, and if that's the cable car he's talking about, for sure there's time to do that on that day in the afternoon.
Well, I'll get more information from him and just work it out at the time, I think.
Yeah,
Sounds like the best idea. Okay, thanks, Abbey.
No worries.
All right. I think Deborah Chen has raised her hand. Do you have a
Yes.
question, Chen? Deborah?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It looks really wonderful, and I think it would be a very hard choice. I think most people would want to do both probably eventually. My question is about start times. Are these going to be all very early morning, 5 a.m. breakfasts and on the track, 7 o'clock in the morning or earlier, or?
No, because we've chosen really lovely accommodation to stay in, it's a bit rude not to enjoy the beautiful buffet breakfast that's on offer. So typically these countries serve breakfast somewhere between 7 and 7:30. So we do that as a start time, and then have about an hour to have breakfast, get ourselves ready, and then get on the trail. The only time that would ever change is if we get dished a heat wave, and it's going to be best to get on the track early. But to do these walks, you need to be well fueled. So breakfast is kind of like the most important meal of the day. So yeah, 99.9% of the time, breakfast is somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock, and then departing at 8:30.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your kind words, Deborah. Any other people with questions? Woohoo, I think we might be off the hook, Abbey. Hey, thank you so much, everybody, for great questions, great attending. Thank you for sparing your time. I'd like to reiterate that we are so lucky to have Abbey. She is one of our best guides. I believe you're going to be in exceptionally good hands. She is an incredible guide. We're very lucky to have her, and hopefully we'll see you all on the tour. We'll be emailing you all, but please send any questions if you've got any further questions. But thank you so much, everybody, for attending, and we'll see you on the trails.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.